Hey guys, Tony here, and I'm back to do a little bit something different. The other day I got some really cool news. It was announced that Neil Young, who I'm sure all you guys know who watch my videos by now, know that I'm a complete Neil fanatic. Um, but um, he's gonna tour again. His Twisted Road Illinois tour, which he did basically a North American tour last year. Um, Pretty much, I think, all before the album actually came out. If I'm not mistaken, at least I'm not sure. I caught the first part of the tour. I caught maybe he was only about 4 shows into it, 5 shows into that tour, and it was just phenomenal. He played a lot of material off of Illinois. It was solo electric and acoustic. He did play a couple acoustic. He did play some piano and organ, and but yeah, he was only a few shows into it. So he hadn't. I don't know. As amazing as the show was, I'm sure he hit his stride with that material in that particular show further on. But it was still absolutely amazing. And every time I've seen Neil Young live, he's never failed to just completely blow my mind. So, getting back to what I'm trying to say here, he announced that he's going to tour again through the spring. There's supposed to be a Buffalo Springfield reunion tour coming up in the summer. I think he's going to play. It has not a lot's been announced so far. Buffalo Springfield is booked to play the Bonnaroo Festival. I'm wondering if anything more happens. It'll probably be a festival tour. In which case, they'll probably go over to Europe for the summer, which happens a lot. There's a lot of festivals during the summer in Europe, a lot of music festivals. So, but it'd be cool to see him play Buffalo Springfield. But anyway, so for the spring, he's gonna do a quick tour of only about 11 cities, and I just bought tickets to see him again in Providence, Rhode Island on April 22nd, I believe. Which all this was such a surprise. I mean, it was announced, I want to say Monday, that he was going to tour again, and the shows were going to be in a month. I've waited months at times after I bought tickets for the show to come. So it seems like kind of a quick last minute thing. So yeah, I bought the tickets a little while ago. I went for cheap tickets this time. The first time I saw him, this is a theater tour, so it's not arenas. It's very small theaters. And the last show I saw, I had pretty decent seats. Not the greatest, but still pretty good. And they were pretty expensive. So this time I figured I would just spend about. I'd get the cheapest ticket available. There was a pre-sale, and I bought them for $50. Was the cheapest. I could have had pit seats. It's like 3-4 rows, or maybe 5 rows. That's the pit. But they're $250, which is just outrageous. I have seen Neil front row before, and it was mind-blowing. Now, I know I've said it before, but this is going to be my 17th time seeing Neil Young perform. Sometimes I say that number, and it sounds kind of crazy, but to me, the guy just embodies. To me, he's my absolute favorite, hands down. At this point, for as long as I've been a fan of his, a huge fan of his, I don't see that ever really changing. I've had other favorite bands that kind of came and went, you know. And as much as I've kind of deviated away from, I don't want to deviate, but more, I've gone on to discover a lot more music, and I've been getting into a lot of different things. I don't think there's anything that'll ever change the status of Neil to me, in my mind, as being my favorite artist. To me, the guy, him and his career, his music, it just embodies everything that I believe about art, about music, in a lot of ways about life. Just something about it that it's such a. The guy's had such a deep career. Like, so much has gone on. He's managed somehow to stay relevant and stay on top of his game for his whole career. There's not a lot of people that could say that. Sure, in the 80s he kind of veered off, but still, I think if it wasn't for his 80s material, we wouldn't be looking at him with the respect and awe that we do today. That the guy had the balls to go out and make an album like Trans, and then make an album like Old Ways. So yeah, to me, he's just always going to be my favorite artist. And sure, there's some material I think is, you know, kind of weak, but I always try to look for what he's going for, what he's trying to do, what he's trying to get across. And most times I can't find it. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, show number 17, seeing Neil Young again, and I'm totally psyched about it. And again, it's his Twisted Road solo electric, solo acoustic show. I'm hoping he'll change up the set a little bit. It seems more in the recent years, maybe it's just that the guy's in his 60s now, his mid 60s, so maybe just with age he's kind of been trying to stick to one set. It's maybe easier, but he's always been known for changing it up every night, playing something different. In this last tour, and it's become more and more prevalent, I guess, he plays the same set every night, and it's been consistent throughout this whole tour, and it's a great show, it's a great cycle of songs, but it'd be cool to see something different. But if he sticks to that same set list, I'm still thrilled. I mean, after seeing him 17 times, I think I could say 16 times. I think it's safe to say that every show is different, no matter what. I've seen the same show on the same tours, and it's still every time it's different. On his Greendale tour, he played. It's like his rock opera. The time he did that, and I seen that show 4 times, and it was with Crazy Horse, and they played the whole album of Greendale, from start to finish. Especially when the first couple shows, the album hadn't been released yet. Nobody knew anything about it, and he comes out and plays a whole album of new material, and it tells a story. It's an opera, and people were kind of pissed, like people come with expectations to hear what they want to hear, and that's a terrible thing to do, especially with. It's terrible to do with any musician. I mean, if you're gonna go see Steve Miller Band, I'm sure he's gonna play the Joker, and if you didn't, you'd probably be disappointed. But with someone like Neil, like most artists, you really shouldn't go there with expectations. I agree with Neil when he says he's playing this music for him. And I think that's what you want your artists to do, to play their music for themselves, for them to get off, because you benefit from that. So yeah, I saw Greendale 4 times. Each time it was different in ways, and how he played. You could tell his mood and just everything about it. And some people I've told I've seen Greendale 4 times, they think I'm nuts, but I loved it. The 4th time I went, I was excited about going and everything. Yeah, so I don't know how long I've been talking now, but my initial idea was to kind of talk about some of the concerts that I've gone to. I do Neil Young concerts. I do have all my tickets, but I'm not going to pull them out. They're mostly in like photo albums, and some of them have been in there for a long time. So, but I have the set list. This is how nutty I am. I print out the set list of the show just to have. I try to get the bootleg of the show, which I do have a number of from shows that I've been to. But still, I like to print out the set lists just to have them, I guess, So the first time I saw Neil was with Crazy Horse in 1996. And for some reason, I never thought I would see him. I don't know why. Probably because I was into the Beatles and the Doors, and bands that are long gone, and there's no way you'll ever be able to see them. So, and then again, I was like 15, 16, and yeah, I was totally excited to go. It was in Great Woods, Massachusetts. It's in Mansfield, Massachusetts, but what was then known as Great Woods Performance Arts Center. It was a typical Crazy Horse show. He came out. He didn't say anything. I think the only words he actually said to the audience besides singing were Crazy Horse. But yeah, he opened with Hey Hey My My. Very typical show. It was around the Broken Arrow album, so there's a lot of tunes from that on there. He played a couple acoustic songs, Long May You Run, The Needle and the Damage Done, Heart of Gold, Sugar Mountain. Second time I seen him, though, which was still it was about 3 months later. 3 or 4 months later, yeah, was in the Meadows in Hartford, Connecticut, and that was on November 8th. So the Meadows is an amphitheater, and it was winter, so what they did was they closed it off. And this was just hands down the most amazing show I've ever seen. Crazy Horse, really, this is a totally different set list. I mean, yeah, they still opened with Hey Hey My My, but they played songs that, he played a song in here he hadn't played since the 60s when it came out, you know? So it was a different kind of show completely, and it was just crazy. It was so loud, there was so much feedback. I left there convinced I'd seen a lunatic, and it was like a different guy from the first show. He interacted with the audience a little more, he just went crazy. The song that he played was Out of My Mind, which was a Buffalo Springfield song, and he hadn't played it since like 1970 or something. It had been years. And the tracks When You Dance I Can Really Love, and I always get this wrong, but I think it's Scattered, are the 2 tracks that ended up on Year of the Horse, that album, which is totally awesome. So yeah, that was the second show, and it was phenomenal. The next time I saw him, he toured with on the Horde Festival, which was usually a Blues Traveler thing, but Neil and Crazy Horse took it over. It was exactly a year later, August 1997, for my first show. He only played 12 songs. That was considered a short set. Probably notable for a jam that they played that's actually in the set list called Jam, and it was just them playing around. And he played Crime in the City with Crazy Horse, which was awesome. I don't remember a whole lot from that show. Yeah, I was 17 and partying a lot, but I do remember the show, and it was fantastic. I remember Beck opened up, and it was strange seeing Beck and then Neil Young. It was strange seeing Crazy Horse play in the middle of the day with the sun out, but still phenomenal. He closed with Mansion on the Hill. He played Fucking Up, Hippie Dream, which was also notable. The next time I saw him was in 1999, solo acoustic by himself at the Oakdale Theater in Wallingford, Connecticut, which is right near where I live, and it was just unbelievable. Probably the second best show I've ever seen was him solo acoustic. I've talked about these shows, I know, extensively, so I do have a bootleg of this show, and I cherish it. I'm really glad I have it. Then I seen him on his Crosby, Stills, Nash reunion tour, and this was on April 12th, 2000, and they played 31 songs. This was probably the longest show, the longest performance by one band that I've ever seen. 31 songs. I mean, this was like, there were 2 intermissions, really, and then an encore. And I'm sorry, there was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 song encore, and then they came back out and did a second encore, and unbelievable. And there was a big intermission. There was an intermission and then a 7th inning stretch that they did. But that was the best. I seen Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young 3 times. That first time, nothing beats it. It's, you know, the shows after that were the Living with War show, and another one was Neil touring. He had released Are You Passionate? It was right after 9/11, and that was probably the weakest one, to be honest, but still great. As much as I love Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Neil stands out with them like a sore thumb. I mean, he actually moves around and goes crazy, and his performances are the highlight, to say the least. The next time I saw him was, I mean, after those Crosby, Stills, and Nash shows, I saw Greendale, 4 shows, twice in 2003, and then another 2 times in 2004. First time at Madison Square Garden, then I saw him again at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and then I saw him the following year at Radio City Music Hall, which is a fantastic place to see a show. What's notable was that after they played the Greendale, they played some of their regular tunes, I guess you could say, some of the classics. He played Old Country Waltz, he played Danger Bird, and that was a great experience. Again, I saw him at the Oakdale with Greendale. After that, I saw him play with what kind of became his electric band, but this was before that electric band time. It was called Neil Young Friends and Relatives. which is around the Road Rock time. It was from that tour. And I remember being on the lawn for that show at an amphitheater, and it was raining, and I was with a whole group of my friends, and it was just a phenomenal time and a great show. He played Words, which was fantastic. And then I saw him a few times with his electric band. I saw him 3 times, actually, with his electric band. Here's a program from that experience, one of those shows. This one, I believe, was in, I want to say New York. I saw him in New York with the electric band. I also saw him at the Oakdale in Wallingford, Connecticut, again with the electric band. And then I saw him at Farm Aid, which was cool. A short set, but he played actually longer than I think everybody else. And he played A Day in a Life. At every one of those shows, he closed with A Day in a Life, which was really cool. And then there was the Twisted Road show. And that was like a really like emotional experience for some reason. It was just him and something about the songs. He had just lost a bunch of friends that had died. I mean, a lot of the songs were inspired by the deaths of Larry Johnson and L.A. Johnson, and then later on Ben Keith. So yeah, that's kind of like my history of seeing Neil. I just felt compelled to make a video. I hope this didn't bore the hell out of everybody. So yeah, I'm real excited. In a month's time or so, a little more than a month, I'll be seeing him again. And I can't wait. 17 times. And I said I'll see him every time he comes around, and I hoped I could see him another 17 times. So yeah, I do have some new vinyl, which I'll show in another video, maybe later tonight. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like again, I hope I didn't bore anybody. So